This video will demonstrate how to update the attributes and the naming convention and revisioning for documents in 3DExperience. Here I am in the Collaborative Spaces Configuration Center. I will make it full screen here. Now first I want to change how my documents are named. So I'll go to Content Naming Rules, and in Content Type you will look for Document. You'll see here an example of the naming convention. The prefix is DOC. I'll go ahead and leave that. You can also hover over the I for more information. So it says empty prefix value is forbidden, so we must have something here. Same with interfix. It is recommended to define something for the interfix. Now I don't like this long string of numbers and letters here, so I'm actually just going to put the letter N. So I read this as document number, and then there is a counter. I also don't really like this separator here, so I'm going to change it to no separator. So now we have DOCN and counter. This means that there will be a serialized numbering convention applied to every document. You can go ahead and click apply here. Now every document created from here on out should follow this naming convention. It is recommended that you set up the content naming before you create anything. So if you already have a few documents created, that's okay. Just know that they will not be renamed with this preview setup here. For revision naming, you'll go to the revision naming rules, and we're going to look for document release here. You can see for document release, it is set up as 0, 1, 2, 3. You can set this up however you would like. For example, if you wanted to skip I, O, Q, S, X, Z, you can set that here. However, if you switch revision naming conventions partway through, creating a bunch of documents, it gets a little messy. So again, try to leave it where it is at unless you're starting clean. And you can hit apply if you changed it. Next, I'm going to add some attributes for documents. You can do that by going to Attributes Management and then searching for document. And you will see any existing document attributes if you have any created. I do not have any created yet, so I'm going to create one. And you can define the type of attribute. Maybe it's Boolean, maybe it's an integer, maybe it's a date. I'll leave it as string. And I will call this document type. Now the name here is the backend name. So you may notice I tried to put a space in here, and it says attribute name cannot contain spaces. So you could put either no space or use an underscore. For title, this would be the display name. Document type. Now you must assign a default value to ensure that everything works correctly. So let's say the default value is going to be specification. And I want this to be a mandatory attribute. I don't want it to be reset when versioned or duplicated, and it's not going to be multi-evaluated or multi-line. I do want to assign some authorized values, so I need to be sure I include specification here. Maybe I want to also have template, process, procedure. We'll leave it at that. You can hit OK. Now you must hit apply here, otherwise you'll basically lose this. It won't save. So hit apply. It says here, it's highly recommended to add new attributes on a type only when there are no objects of this type in the database. If you do have items in the database, you can push this attribute out. Now, that default value that I assigned will automatically go to every single document that exists. So if you don't want that, just know that you might want to set up the attributes before creating a bunch of documents. So I'll go ahead and proceed anyways. Yes. Great. Now I got a note here, please launch a reload cache and an update index model in configuration deployment to reflect these changes. What that means is I need to just go, apply this. So go to configuration deployment, attributes propagation down at the bottom, click search. You can see here I have physical product attributes, so I've already sent these, I've already propagated them, which is why it has a green check mark. You can see that this one has an orange or a yellow check mark here, basically saying, hey, 0 of 1 attributes have been propagated through, there's 1 missing. You can hover over attributes, you can see document type there. So I can select and press propagate. This may take a long time if there's a large number of objects. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes. Okay, chosen types. It says chosen types has been well treated. I don't really know what that means, but I think it's telling me that it's working. It just needs some time. This is only 1 object, so it won't take long, but I can just click refresh. And eventually it will turn green. And we can go check by going to our document. And I'm going to create a new document here just to see if the naming convention has worked. So I am going to click new document. You can see here the title is doc n, bunch of zeros and a 3, so that is looking great so far. And you'll see that the title is duplicated from the name. I cannot edit the name, right? This is kind of the backend identifier. We don't want to mess with that, but it is following our new rule set, which is great. I'm going to update the title. I'll just put my document. And I will click create. Great. So now you can click on this new document of yours and hit the I, and you should now see that the document type attribute that we created before is now showing. It is mandatory, has that red asterisk, and I can select a value here. It defaulted to specification, which is great. I'm going to change it to process and hit save. All right, so now you can see that we updated the document naming convention, the revisioning convention, and also added an attribute.